What's up, guys? This is Crazy Kev here. I'm going to be doing the top 20 best alumni fighters from Dana White Contender Series. So this list is going to feature 20 fighters that either won or lost on Dana White Contender Series, and they did not earn a contract from the show, but they did end up earning a contract later, whether it was short notice, whether it was getting signed outright by the promotion. But now they're in the UFC. Now they're doing their thing. Guys, before we get this video started, I do want to go over what I'm kind of doing for this list. So basically for the alumni, what I'm kind of looking for is longevity. I'm looking at the championship rankings and accomplishments. I'm also looking at the potential that every fighter can have. And I'm also looking at the UFC and Dana White Contender Series, their win-loss record, who they kind of fought competition-wise, all that good stuff. So that's what I'm kind of factoring into this list. Before we get too deep into this video, I do want to give a big shout out to Brendan Loughran here. Brendan, he fought on season 3 of Dana White Contender Series. He fought against Bill Algeo, who Bill actually ended up having a pretty solid career in the UFC, but Brendan never ended up getting his shot in the UFC like he deserved. Brendan is killing it right now in the PFL, so I'm definitely glad he's doing his thing. But I do think not only was his decision a big part of not getting signed by Dana White, but, you know, a while ago, he was on The Ultimate Fighter. And with him being on The Ultimate Fighter, he and a few other fighters were a part of, you know, trying to use a cell phone to try to contact their loved ones when they were during the show. So I do think that kind of rubbed Dana the wrong way for like a really long time, potentially forever. So like I said, I do think that kind of played into Brendan not getting signed. But like I said, I don't know for sure. All right, starting the list. Number 20, Jamal Emmers. Jamal Emmers, 4-4 in the UFC. He's beaten the GOAT, Gabriel Miranda. He's the MMA GOAT. I know most people don't know this yet, but I'm going to put you guys onto him. Gabriel Miranda, MMA GOAT, big win. He's beaten Dennis Buzz, beat Vince, he beat Kushin. So a lot of solid guys there. And then he also lost to, you know, Pat Sabatini, Giga, Jack Jenkins, Nate the Train, Jamal Emmers. Here at number 19 is Julian Juicy J Erosa. Juicy J is 9-8-1 in the UFC with a lot of solid wins. He's definitely been like a prospect killer, defeating C-Rod, beat Ricardo Hamas, Hakeem Dowdu, also had a lot of hype back in the days, Charles Jourdain. I mean, just a lot of solid guys. I mean, Juicy J is definitely deserves to be on this list. He's also lost to a lot of decent fighters. I think Juicy J at number 19 is a good spot for him. Moving along to 18, Julio Arce. With Julio Arce, he's beaten Herbert Burns, beat Julian Erosa, beat David Tamer, he beat Dan Ige. So a lot of solid names for Julio Arce. Julio is no longer in the UFC, but I do think Julio at number 18 is where he belongs. Next up at number 17 is Terrence McKinney, the finishing machine himself. So he's beat Slavic Claus recently in one of his last fights, beat Matt Frivola, he's beaten the Smile Killer. I mean, Terrence McKinney has definitely been on an insane run with his finishes, so definitely mad props to him. And he's obviously, you know, fought some tough guys with Drew Dober, Sidekov, Riovics. I mean, all these losses that he's had that really aged well. And you know, with Drew Dober, he was super close to winning that fight. With Nazim Sidekov, that would be a fun one to run back. I'm not sure that would ever happen, but like I said, I would love to see that one again. And then Riovics is just a monster. I do think Riovics is definitely one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC period, and definitely one of the most exciting in the division. So yeah, I mean, Terrence McKinney definitely has like 0 losses where it's like, you know, you should really be hanging your head about. There's a lot of tough guys that Terrence McKinney has fought. Next up is Alessandro Costa. With Costa here, he has 2 wins over Jimmy Flick and Kevin Borjas, but he's been matched up against Steve Erceg and Amir Albazi. So with him being matched up against these top 5 guys and competing against them, I do like his potential in the division. I do think he's going to go kind of far. And, you know, he is fighting again at Noche against a short notice opponent. This should be another easy win for him. So then he'll rack it up and be 3-2 in the UFC. But like I said, I do think Costa has a lot of potential. I do think he's fighting a lot of good guys. He's definitely fought some of the highest competition we've seen so far on this list, which is why I put him at number 16. Number 15 is Ricky Simone. Ricky Simone is 10-5 in the UFC. He's fought guys like Smotherman, Basharat, Jack Shore, and of course, he's beaten Montel Jackson and Merab. With that Merab win, I mean, obviously, you know, Merab isn't who he was back then, but the fact that he was still able to put Merab out like he did is still insane. I mean, on top of it, I mean, like I said, Merab wasn't a bum back then. I mean, Merab was obviously a beast, but you get what I'm saying. You know, he wasn't in that championship form. But the fact that Ricky Simone was still able to get it done, he's beaten a lot of beasts on top of it. Ricky Simone is a tough fight for anybody. Doesn't matter where he is in his career. I mean, he's lost to Song Yadong, Uriah Faber, and Rob Font. But again, like I said, obviously some really solid names. Ricky Simone is always going to be a tough customer for anybody. Next up here at number 14, Mike Davis. Mike Davis is 5-2 in the UFC. He's coming off a finished win over Mitch Ramirez. He's beat Natan Levy, Slavic Cause, Mason Jones, Thomas Gifford. I mean, Mike Davis is a beast. Mike Davis has a lot of potential. He's only lost to the Smile Killer and Gilbert Burns. I really, really like Mike Davis. I'm super high on him. With him being a number 14, I easily think he can skyrocket if he gets the right matchups and he stays active. That's been the biggest thing with Mike Davis. He's just never active. You know what I mean? So if he's able to stay healthy, stay active, man, I would love to see where Mike Davis could go. Next up is my man, Jalen Turner, 7-6 in the UFC, fought a lot of beasts, been on a lot of good cards. Jalen Turner is the man. Now, Jalen Turner has retired from the UFC. However, there has been multiple people that have reached out to me, showing me messages that Jalen Turner will be returning. So maybe some breaking news for some of you guys. But like I said, Jalen Turner will be back. I'm just kind of waiting for him to announce it. I'm curious to see who his opponent's going to be, when it's going to be. But I know Jalen Turner is definitely training and looking to be back. So super glad to hear that. And like I said, on top of that, he's got 7 wins in the UFC over King Green. Man, that was a brutal beatdown. And yeah, I mean, he's beat a lot of solid guys. Jalen Turner's always been a beast, one of a fan favorite. Fought guys like Bob Mundez, Moicano, Hooker, Gamrot, Steamroller, Luque. I mean, those are some pretty solid losses if you have to take a loss. And I mean, Jalen Turner has beaten a lot of solid guys. Next up here at number 12 is going to be Charlie Campbell. He's beaten Trevor Peaks. He's also fought Alex Reyes. Now, you guys might also remember he was booked against Mauricio Hufi, but that fight never ended up happening. But like I said, I do think Charlie Campbell has a ton of potential. He's fought some decent guys right off the rip. He's undefeated right now. He's been on the shelf for a while. I'm ready to see Charlie Campbell back in action. Please give the Cannibal a fight, guys. Come on, what are we doing? Next up here, guys, is Giga Chikadze. Man, Giga, please bring back the Giga kick, man. Please, just bring it back. We missed the Giga kick. That freaking kick on Cub Swanson was so beautiful. I love that kick so much, man. Anyways, Giga, man, has a lot of great wins. He beat Edson Barbosa, Bruce Leroy. Wow, wow. Some of my favorite strikers I like to watch. Then you got, he's beaten Brandon Davis, beat Jamal Emmers, beat Cub Swanson, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, he's got some pretty solid wins, which is why he's ranked at number 11. He's lost to a couple ranked guys in Cater, Arnold Allen, David Onama. So, yeah, like I said, I definitely think Giga deserves to be in the top 10. I do think if he won that David Onama fight, I'd have him a little bit higher, obviously. But 8-3 in the UFC, a lot of solid wins, and only lost to ranked fighters. Maybe not the best person outside of the cage, but definitely a really solid fighter. Casey Kenny here. So Casey, 5-3 in the UFC, only lost to absolute studs. Merab, Dom Cruz, Song Yadong. Wow. So that's a crazy list of fighters that he's fought in general, but then, obviously didn't go his way, but he did fight guys like Ray Borg, did fight Smolka, he did fight Wood. I mean, like I said, he's fought a lot of solid competition and beat a lot of solid competition as well. Next up is Kyler Phillips. Kyler, we just saw win not too long ago, 6-3 in the UFC, beating Munoz, beating Barcelos, Rojo, Song Yadong. I mean, like I said, Kyler Phillips is definitely not a guy to sleep on. Kyler's easily a guy that's going to be in that top 10, maybe that top 5 area throughout his career. He's got a lot of the tools, very well-rounded. I really like Kyler and what he's been doing in the UFC. He's only lost to some strong competition, with Rob Font probably being one of the best guys that he lost to. Like I said, Kyler is a beast. He's definitely someone that I like in this top 10 here. Chase Hooper, he has lost to guys like Steve Garcia and Bruce Leroy, but he has fought a lot of good fighters. And Jim Miller, he has beaten Clay Guida. He's been kind of on that, Unk tour, and he's been kind of killing it on the Unk tour. But, now he's fighting Alexander Hernandez. He's really going to, test himself. If he beats Alex Hernandez, I could definitely see him sneaking up potentially into the top 5 for my rankings, of course, not the UFC rankings, but I could definitely see myself moving Chase Hooper up on this list if he does get a big win over Alexander Hernandez. But Alexander Hernandez is going to be pretty tough. But you never know what to expect out of Alexander Hernandez. He's one of those fighters where it's like he could be top 5 one night, but he could also be unranked another night. So just depends what kind of Alexander Hernandez Chase Hooper is going to get. Chris Curtis here. He's coming off a hook kick victory on Dana White Contender Series, and he doesn't get signed. Are you kidding me? So I get it. The show in the beginning, they weren't really signing everyone, right? But this man just hook kicked someone in the face and won like that. And you didn't sign him, and you're looking for exciting finishes. I never understood that. I think Chris Curtis easily with like you don't even need to be an MMA fan. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're just watching Dana White Contender Series, that was exciting. Like there was nobody that was like that wasn't shocked. You know what I mean? So I have no idea how he didn't get signed. So let's put that out there before we even get into this list. He's 6-4. He beat guys like Phil Hawes, Max Griffin, Vieira, Brendan Allen. I mean, a lot of good wins. And then obviously he's lost to a lot of good guys like Kopylov, Jack the Joker, Kelvin. But Chris Curtis is the man. Chris Curtis is a solid top 15, top 10 guy. Chris Curtis, number 7. I like him there. Next up, the Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. So with Steve Garcia, 7-2 in the UFC, number 6 for this. So with Steve Garcia, he's obviously fought a lot of good guys, getting tons of finishes. Steve Garcia is a problem, a finishing streak for a long time. A lot of brutal finishes as well, too. I mean, really just destroying Chase Hooper, and then just all over Kyle Nelson, just off the top of my head. I mean, Steve Nelson has been a problem, and I definitely think he's going to be a guy that, you know, the division's just going to have to keep watching out for. I mean, you might not think about Steve Garcia right away, but I mean, man, he's definitely a guy you shouldn't be sleeping on because he's a problem, man. And I'm definitely loving the way he's been fighting. And like I said, he's a guy that you should really keep your eye on because he can be top 5 pretty soon if he gets the right matchups and he stays active. So I'm really liking what I see out of Steve Garcia here. At number 5, we have Montel Jackson. Montel Jackson, 9-2 in the UFC, a lot of good wins, a lot of finishes as well. Beating guys like Daniel Marcos, he just took their O. He beat Blackshear, who's always a tough customer as well. Beat Yaya Arce, who we were talking about earlier in the video. He beat Brian Kelleher. I mean, like I said, a lot of solid guys from Montel Jackson. He has a lot of finishes as well. Very exciting fighter. I like to watch Montel always. Top 5 fighter for sure in this rankings. And yeah, Montel Jackson is the man. Moving along, he's coming off a big victory over Kevin Holland. Daniel Rodriguez, 10-4 in the UFC. He's beaten Tim Means, he's beaten Kevin Holland, Gabe Green. I mean, the list goes on. Even Mike Perry, the man. So Daniel Rodriguez, it feels like he's been in the UFC for a really long time, like even before Dana White Contender Series. I don't know why. Maybe that's just me. But Daniel Rodriguez, he has 14 fights in the UFC already. Fought a lot of solid guys. He's ranked right now. He's top 4 for me. Next up is the man that Daniel Rodriguez just beat, Kevin Holland. So Kevin Holland, 15-11-1. That activity is bonkers. You just saw Daniel Rodriguez at 14 fights. Kevin Holland has 15-11-1. Wow. So with that being said, I mean, I've seen Kevin Holland fight, I believe, 3 times in person live. I've seen him fight in UFC Philadelphia, saw him fight at 302, and I also saw him fight at 316. So Kevin Holland is always fighting, man. It's crazy. But long story short, he's beaten tons of great guys. He tapped out Luque, tapped out Olshipchak, he beat Mike Chiesa. I mean, he's beaten Tim Means, GM3, Darren Stewart, who's a pretty solid win. He's beaten Fluffy and Buckley, which is crazy because those are prelim fights, and Kevin Holland is just always on the main card now. But yeah, long story short, Kevin Holland is just beating everybody. It's kind of unfortunate he lost to Daniel Rodriguez, but I did think that Daniel Rodriguez was going to be a tougher fight than Luque, but I'm still surprised that he ended up not being able to beat Daniel Rodriguez. But long story short, Kevin Holland is a solid fighter. He's going to be a solid fighter for a long time. I'm really curious to see when he eventually retires, how many fights he does end up having since he already has so many already. But man, Kevin Holland at number 3, Mr. Dan Ige. So Dan Ige, he's beaten Sean Woodson, Feely, Nate the Train, Edson Barbosa. Dan Ige's fought a lot of good guys. People like to refer to Dan Ige as a gatekeeper because he's lost to guys like Pitbull, Murphy, Lopes. I mean, he's fought them all pretty much. And I mean, if you want to make it far in the division, you have to beat Dan Ige. Dan Ige is almost turning into like the Neil Magny of his division. I feel like as his career goes on, that might kind of be his gig, unfortunately. But with Dan Ige, he's definitely been a very solid fighter for the division. Like I mentioned, fought a lot of good guys, 11-9 in the UFC. I definitely think he's one of the best guys the UFC has not signed after their Dana White Contender Series victory, which is why I ranked him at number 2. Last but not least, I feel like this is obvious for most, but number 1, Diego Lopes. So with Diego here, 5-2 in the UFC, beating Ortega, Dan Ige, Yusuf, Sabatini, Gavin Tucker. I mean, like I said, this guy has fought a lot of solid competition, and he's only lost to the best in the division. He lost to Mavzar, who is the future champion. He's lost to Volkanovski, who is the current champion. So there you go. No real hard argument here. Diego Lopes was the clear number one going into this list, and I do think the rest of those guys is probably more up to debate. So, guys, just let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about this list? Did I do a good job? Is there anybody you would add? Is there anybody you would take out? Who would you switch? Let me know in the comments. That's super important to me. As we wrap up this video here, I do have two big shout outs for helping me make this video and helping it go as smooth as it did. So big shout out is to my guy L1L here. He does a ton of stuff on Twitter. He's always doing rankings. He's always posting MMA stuff. He's just a guy that should be doing more for the MMA community. He's just so busy doing his real job. But man, he's just so knowledgeable from the sport, and he definitely is a guy that you guys should be following because he does a lot of great work, and I'm definitely impressed by his stuff. So big shout out to him. I also want to give a big shout out to my friend Khalil Roundtree's #1 fan. With Khalil Roundtree's #1 fan, he was able to help me compile some of the wins and losses and kind of put them into the PowerPoint a little bit faster and just kind of helping me make sure all the stats are accurate. So I do appreciate his time as well too. Guys, I appreciate you taking the time and watching this video. I do have a rankings list I am planning to drop with all the fighters that did get signed by the UFC. I have a massive list of this one of over 130 fighters I've ranked from 1 to 130. So I'm thinking about doing like a top 50 list for that one. Let me know what you guys think. I can cut that down to maybe 30, 20. I do plan to drop that as my next long form video, so make sure you guys just stay tuned for that one. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this, make sure you let me know in the comments, slap a like, and let's enjoy Dana White Contender Series, guys. It's finally back. So let's see some awesome fights. Let's see some cool finishes, and I'm looking forward to learn about these new fighters. This is Crazy Kev, and I don't miss.